What is an impossible question to answer? When did you first learn your name, and how old were you? Where was Gondor when the Westfold fell? Why? When asked by a 4-yo, any response will be met with, but why? Where do you see yourself in X years? I fucking hate that question. Especially when you've reached your goals and haven't really made any solid plans yet. Like, fuck off with that question. I'm confused. Generally, when someone asks me, what? I just repeat myself once or twice and they always seem to get it. How long is any specific coastline? What's something that's hated for no reason? I always thought it was really weird how in the 90s, every other cartoon's go-to target of hate were mimes. Actors because of the characters they played. I read that the woman who played Bryan Cranston's wife on Breaking Bad still gets hate mail. Wile E. Coyote. Personally, I hope he blows the Roadrunner to pieces. Guy Fieri. Dude has donated millions to charity and done phenomenal things for the world, but because he has spiked blonde hair and is a meme, people hate on him. Black cats. They are so sweet and funny. But psychos go out of their way to hurt them, or some people think they are bad luck, so they're less likely to be adopted. Liking things meant for people way younger than you. My 17-year-old brother likes Thomas the Tank Engine. Has a huge layout with buildings, trees, storylines, the whole thing. My dad and his girlfriend refuse to buy it for him and actively ridicule him for it. Like, WTF is it to you? People not living with depression or any kind of mood disorder. What do depressed people look like from your point of view? It depends. Sometimes they appear 100% normal because their masking is unnervingly good. Sometimes they look completely dead inside with blank stares. My wife has battled depression since we met, and we are now 6 years into marriage and 2 kids deep. I've never suffered from depression. To me, it looms like my wife is a victim of her emotions. There are peaks and valleys, with not much time spent in the middle. She will have an extreme high where she is happy, immediately followed by an extreme low. It's like she's in a kayak that's constantly going back and forth, slamming into opposite banks. I have something in me that helps me keep my boat in the middle the majority of the time. And she does not. She also doesn't trust herself. She spends an enormous amount of her already resource-strained emotional capital second-guessing her own decisions, often before she's even made them. Thus causes low self-esteem, with a large number of secondary negative effects. She is chronically unable to set and keep boundaries, especially with overbearing family members. Another symptom is that her extreme lows frequently trigger my wife's survival response: fight, flight, or freeze. My wife is a flight person. At the micro level, this causes her to start and then promptly give up on small projects, contributing to her feeling that she can't do anything right. It has also caused her to almost preemptively harpoon things that are important to her because she just assumes they will fail versus working on things. This is likely a result of the emotional abuse and abandonment she suffered from her family and step-parents. But that's a diff can of worms. She also hides behind humor and sarcasm to avoid talking about serious topics. My wife is a caring, wonderful, selfless, intelligent, creative person who I love very much. We've done 5 years of couples and 2 years of family therapy, and I've seen huge improvements in many of these areas, especially in the last year. But it's a constant battle to keep her engaged and motivated. She's had a much harder life than I, and I respect her enormously for how far she's come given where she came from. But man, don't ever catch yourself on the wrong end of an argument with a very intelligent, hyper-sarcastic person with little regard to self-preservation who adopts a, well, if it's falling apart then I might as well torch the whole motherfucker to the ground mentality. One time years ago I was watching a program where Dick Cavett was talking about his depression. And he described riding in a train through some lovely European countryside, and his thought was, "This is so beautiful. I wish I could be here to enjoy it." Bingo. No one else can tell. No one else sees. He is the same open, loving, funny, outgoing person no matter how he has actually doing. I'm the only one who sees the extremely late nights and the sleep deprivation. The long naps at lunchtime and in the afternoons. The struggle that it is to psych himself up for going out to see people. Going out to the movies. Or going out to the store. The increase in the amount of worry he has over whether he is enough for me and our children. The random evening when the dam breaks and he actually tells me how much he is struggling and how hard it is, and I reassure him that he is doing marvelously and we all love him desperately. And that we will continue to fight together. He's incredible. As the one person in the family inside 3 generations who somehow dodged the depression wave, there is a vacancy that becomes visible within a person's behavior and sometimes demeanor. The difference between doing well and looking well is pretty subtle. But it becomes haunting the more you start to see it. It is heartbreaking to see when a family member or loved one has been stolen from themselves. And they don't really get to see the robbery that the universe perpetrated until an upswing catches them. They are aware of what's happening. But there is so much nothing inside of them that caring about what they lost does not compute. And it just kills me. Every man has his secret sorrows for which the world knows not. And oftentimes when we call a man cold when he is only sad. Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. What website did you frequently visit when you were younger? Addictinggames.com, https://addictinggames.com, and Congregate. So many flash games. Stumble upon eBaum's World Icon has cheeseburger texts from last night postsecret F my life. Miniclip. Cracked before it went to absolute shit. Homestar Runner's influence on my sense of humor can still be felt today. The one, the only, www.coolmathgames.com. Shockwave.com. Back in the early 2000s it was loaded with a bunch of fun flash games and video shorts. I remember playing a balloon drop game that I loved, and even though it would make me lose, I'd always drop the balloon on the old lady with the walker to watch her run up the building to beat the shit out of my character. There was also a bunch of animations making fun of Lars Ulrich and James Hetfield during the Napster lawsuit era. People who don't kill houseplants. What's your secret? More water, but less frequently. I have a ton of healthy houseplants. The reason? Indoor Darwinism. This is my home. Now your habitat. You houseplants. I'm inconsistent with watering and feeding. Probably don't know how much sunlight you need, and I'm definitely going to forget to repot you. If you can survive here, you get to stay. If not, die and make room for someone who can. 1. Get robust ones that don't require perfect light and perfect this and perfect that and so on. Succulents like jade tree, for example. 2. Look at them every day. 3. Reminder on calendar to feed them when required. 4. Have plant food. 5. Poke finger in soil. Water if dry. 6. Don't buy pets that nom them. There. Done. My plants seem to thrive on neglect. The secret is how many actually die versus the few that live. Haha. Over time you acquire more plants and start looking like a plant master. But no one sees the graveyard that built your plant collection. Research your plants. What do they require? A lot of water, little water. Sunshine or less sunshine. Size of pots for root systems. Do they need transplanted at all? The list goes on, but those are the basics of it. What's one old thing pre-2000s you want to bring back to now? Fun fast food structures. They've turned all but one McDonald's in my town into some industrial gray building. The same for all the Pizza Huts and a few other places. Being unavailable. I hate being on call 24/7. You used to be able to be out getting groceries or on a walk or whatever and there was no urgency to answer to anyone. Now, people are offended if you don't immediately respond to a text or call, especially since they added the feature where it lets them know you read it. That feeling of going to Blockbuster on a Friday night and getting 2 new releases in a game that would define your weekend. Software to own, not rent. Now, not only you have to pay something every month, but features are added, removed, or changed. I have to keep learning new ways of doing the same task. Classic Cartoon Network. I also want to go back to 90s when I was a kid. My lack of back pain, oof. Subscribe, my brothers.